They call me sassy when I'm strolling down the street. They call me classy when I'm serving just the best. I can be deadly when I find somebody lovely. And now I'm ready like a kitty in a dress.
Welcome back to the channel, friends, or if you are new here, then welcome to the Driven series. We're going to talk more on that in a moment, but I am hungry and it is lunchtime, so let's make up some lunch and get this baby fed. Well, not baby. There's no baby here. It's just me. I'm the baby. I don't want to hear about babies. All right, we're gonna head into the fridge. Thankfully, we've got some stuff already prepped up. So I'm gonna grab a couple things to make my life easier. First things first, I'm gonna grab this container of, I've got some slow cooked turkey and carrots in there that I'm gonna reheat, if you will, on the stovetop, along with, this has been such a blessing, you guys, having a big container of already chopped up little veg. Little veg is just better than big veg. So Jason's been the mastermind behind this. We have in here some mini sweet peppers. Oh, I'm gonna grab the onion too, because I feel like onion makes everything taste better. Like the more onion, the better. Not one of those people that doesn't like onion. Love onion. So we're gonna add some onion too. Something about this combination on the stovetop of little veggies. So we've got asparagus and a little bit of sweet peppers left in there. And then I'm gonna add some onion to it. Just cooking it on the stovetop, I don't know, it tastes so friggin' good. And then I'm gonna chop up my carrots to add with it and some turkey. I am weighing out my food because we are tracking macros again. So I'm gonna do about 3 ounces of this cooked turkey. Add in a good portion of veg. Got the pan heated up. I am just using a little bit of cooking spray, but sometimes depending on what I'm eating, I'll prefer butter or actual olive oil. But for this meal, we're just using the spray. Got everything cut up. The beauty about this, since everything's already cooked, I'm really just heating it up here, so this should take no time at all. That is the beauty of having some stuff already prepared in the fridge, ready to go, especially with protein and veggies already cut up. It's just real quick. One of the things we're gonna use to season it, we don't have much left, but it's this Hawaiian style red sea salt. We get these off Amazon. We also have a black salt one too. Something about it, you don't need a lot, and it just really brings out all the flavors. Usually when we add the sea salt on and all the veggies cook together, all the flavors of the peppers, onions, the asparagus, you don't need anything else to flavor it. Like, I won't need any other condiments. Usually it's so flavorful on its own. Just entering in my macros for this delicious meal. This makes a super big meal, pretty high volume for lower calories, if you will. I didn't add any fat to this meal. I normally would, but I had quite a bit of fat with my breakfast meal, so I'm not going to right now, because what I've noticed from like the past week of just monitoring how I normally eat, I eat a lot of fat very, very easily. And so with playing around with my macros, I want to balance things out a bit better now that I'm tracking. So for this meal, that's why it's a little bit lower fat, but still very filling when you add in all those vegetables and the protein. Having some fluids here as well. Let's taste it, see if it needs any more salt. It's perfect, perfect, perfect. Let's get into what this Driven series is all about. For some of my OGs, I have done a Driven series in the past. That was my Bikini prep series, which I am not planning on prepping for a bodybuilding show throughout this series, but it felt like calling this series Driven was very appropriate based on what my why is and what my purpose is with this series, not only for myself, but for you all as well, because I want this to be something you all can be involved in. This is 100% free. Everything I am doing in terms of apps and things that I'm using, it's all free. So this is a great opportunity for any of you who are looking to work on some goals this fall season. Jason and I are getting ready for vacation. We go, and I mapped it out, a little over 6.5 weeks. So not a ton of time, but I did get started a little bit earlier, but then I got sick. so things got a little bit wonky there, but I already started to make a little bit of progress, but I wanted to bring you guys into it to now join me. You all are gonna see my morning weigh-in today, as well as first thing straight out of bed, looking real cute, my Buff Bunny swimsuit, morning progress photos, and how things are looking at the start of this basically 6-week cut. So we're gonna do weekly check-ins here, and what I'm personally gonna be focusing on is measuring my progress in terms of weigh-ins. I'm gonna update you all each week on my average weigh-in. I'm also gonna be doing a body scan, which you're gonna see in this video, to give me an idea of body fat percentage, which sometimes you can use something like a scale. I used this app today. It was called Me 360. You can download that for free. I actually did this scan 2 weeks ago now. It was before I got sick, and that's really what got me super motivated. So I highly encourage you to check it out. It's a free app that does a quick scan. It gives you a breakdown of body fat percentage as well as even measurements. And I have to say, after doing my actual measurements today, it was pretty darn accurate. It was not far off. And I do believe the body fat percentage is pretty accurate. Obviously, there's better ways to measure out there, but I wanted to keep this as convenient, free as possible, and easily trackable. So for me, this worked out very well. My starting body fat percentage was 26%, which for me, I was like, that's not bad, but it is a little bit higher for where I feel most comfortable in terms of feeling really on my fitness game. It's funny because my weigh-ins have been like in a really good place in terms of maintenance without tracking. I haven't tracked my macros in over a year since I did my summer cut series last summer. Haven't been tracking. I've been in a great place with maintenance. However, I've definitely noticed a change in my body composition, as well as just how I feel in terms of fitness, in terms of my stamina when it comes to cardio, in terms of how my body feels and recovers, and just looking in the mirror and feeling like, I don't look as fit and muscly as I once did. And I'm just really eager to get back to a place where I personally feel more comfortable. Fall season is the best time for me to really recommit to myself and really prioritize myself. And it may not be the best time for you, but if it is, please join me. Let me know down in the comments below if you want to join us with this driven challenge. I have a birthday coming up in a few weeks, and this is always that time of year where I like to reassess coming into a new year, where I'm at in my life in many different areas beyond just like my physical fitness and my body and all that kind of stuff. But it's always that time of year where I feel most like rebirthed, if you will. Like I feel ready to go, recharged to focus on me. So for me personally, this is the best time to do it. I am really aiming for a few different things. Number one is not so much gonna be focusing on weigh-ins on the scale, but like I said, my body composition and really seeing some changes there. So I already went from 26% to 24%. Let's see where I can go over the next 6.5 weeks. A few other things I wrote down that I want to focus on, and you can join me too, or write down your own personal goals. I'm going to be focusing on my sleep. My sleep is imperative. I was sick twice this past year, so this is another thing that's really motivating me to take better care of myself, and that's beyond what I do in the gym and what I nourish my body with. That is also my rest and recovery. Sleep, I'm aiming for 7 to 9 hours a night. I will be tracking that. I do have the Fitbit Sense. I've got a new one coming because they just upgraded it, but this is something I'm going to use for tracking my sleep. I will share that with you weekly, as well as my steps. So this is about just moving more, because it gets really hard for me with work and I can make all the excuses in the world, but the bottom line is many days of the week I don't move enough. So I really want to focus more on monitoring that, just my average step count a day. And starting out, I'm going to focus on 8,000 and trying to get 8,000 a day. Maybe some of you already do that easily. Maybe some of you don't. No judgment here. For me, that's the goal I'm setting that seems realistic, but will also force me to push myself a little bit, and I can always build upon that. I'm also going to be focusing on cardio 3 times a week. I love cardio and I just haven't really been scheduling it in there for one reason or another. Just life is busy. I got 2 dogs, a husband, a job, and I just don't do it. So for me, cardio, we're going to start out at 3 times a week, 20 to 30 minutes. If I want to do more than that, cool. If not, that is my bottom line. No excuses for what I am going to prescribe. And I'm going to do that either on probably my Peloton treadmill or my spin bike. So if you guys want to join me there on Peloton, if you use that app, my name is Dietitian Gal. So you can high five me on the app if you like. The other thing I'm going to focus on is continuing my training. Been doing really good with that. I'm going to keep it at 5 days a week for my training split. Really kind of focusing on upper body, lower body, like alternating each day. I typically train with Jason and I'm going to continue to do so, but I'm also going to kind of do what I need to do. Lately, I've been called to do a little bit more circuit style or throwing in more supersets just to really keep moving. My lift sessions are typically 40 minutes. Sometimes they're longer, but 40 minutes usually gets the job done if I'm really focusing and not taking a ton of rest. So that's my goal for right now. I may change that up at some point. I may see how things go. If I really need to start tracking my actual workouts and my lifts, I may do that down the road, but starting out, I'm not going to. Recovery is the last thing I'm going to focus on, and it's still going to be just as important as the sleep, the nutrition, etc. I'm going to make it a goal to do 1 day of recovery a week, and that's either going to be via doing a yoga session, getting a massage, or treating myself to a sauna session. So this doesn't include the stretching and the foam rolling that I'm going to try to prioritize, but I am going to make sure I incorporate one of those 3 recovery methods once a week, kind of as a treat to myself and my body. I do feel like it helps me to recover better when I incorporate one of those 3 things. For you, it could be something different, but those are the 3 things I wrote down to kind of focus on and schedule in once a week, just like I would schedule in my workouts. How you all can join in, first things first, you can make sure you are subscribed to the YouTube channel here, hit that post notification bell. My goal is to have 2 uploads for this series each week. Likely going to be Monday, Wednesday episodes, but I can't commit to that because I don't do the editing. Jason does. So we're at least going to try to get out 2 videos a week relevant to this series. And going through each week, I'm going to have weekly progress updates for where I'm at. They're going to be realistic updates for what I've done well with, what I've struggled with, really touching base on all those areas I just told you were my goals. We're going to talk specifically about my macros in upcoming videos and how to go about changing them, altering them, and doing this in the healthiest fashion possible. So there's going to be tons of great, helpful content, regardless if you're trying to lose weight or if your goal is really focusing on your maintenance stage, or maybe you're someone that needs to gain weight. This is going to be a supportive community, helping each other through it in the healthiest way possible. So beyond making sure you're subscribed to YouTube, we're going to do a Discord group. I already have a Discord group going that I run. It's called the Buff Bunny Babes. It's a really cool group of, I believe, all females, but I'm going to do a separate room for Driven. So what you're going to get out of joining this and going to the Driven room, we're going to check in daily. We're going to have daily support, back and forth, talking amongst each other, giving each other ideas and tips, supporting each other. If you have questions, not sure how to navigate an event, we can share recipes, kind of upload what you're eating for lunch, your healthy meal ideas, workouts, you name it. And I also want for those of you joining to do your weekly updates for me in that group, and I will be checking them. So even though I'm going to give you all my weekly updates here on the YouTube, I'm going to be checking in on that Driven group to see if you're all updating me on your weekly progress and how you are doing in all the areas that you set out to achieve throughout this 6 weeks with me. As I said, I'm going to focus more on where I'm starting out with my macros because I will be tracking, and maybe you can do something different. That's just what I'm choosing to do. We'll talk more about that in the next episode. But one of the main things I want to leave you all with, which is something I've been focusing on the past 2 weeks as I've kind of slowly gotten back into the swing of things with prioritizing myself, is focusing on what you can add into your life. Going into a weight loss phase, you don't have to necessarily start with cutting out everything, right? Like so many people will immediately go to deficit mode, eating as little as possible, doing as much as possible. And that's not always the right approach starting out. I encourage you to start with looking at what you can add before you start taking things away. So for me, what I've really been focusing on is adding in more whole foods and focusing on building as much of my diet as possible around eating whole foods, in particular, beefing up my fruit and veggie consumption. And I will tell you, without tracking, adding in more fruits and vegetables, I have felt more full, and I've already seen some changes in my body, as you can already see from the body scan. So I think that's been very helpful for me to feel more full, feel more satisfied, make sure I'm getting in good sources of nutrition. You know, you can easily eat the same calorie allotment day in and day out, but at the end of the day, those food choices within that calorie intake do make a difference for how you feel, for how hungry you feel versus how satisfied and energized you feel. So this is an opportunity to really fine-tune how you nourish yourself and do a better job of it, because you deserve it. And it's never too late to start working on yourself. And that's kind of how I feel. It's never too late to start prioritizing yourself, and you don't have to feel selfish about it. You don't have to feel guilty about it. And that's something I have struggled with. I struggle putting myself first with some of this stuff, with taking time away from my family to go do a cardio session. But at the end of the day, at the end of the week, the month, if it makes you a better version of you, then you are a better person to all those people in your life that you love and you want to be there for, that you want to be there for. But you have to be there for yourself first. So that is part of my mission with this whole process, is just improving in every way I can, above and beyond my fitness, but for the sake of this series, we're gonna focus on the fitness. So I am so excited to get going with this series. I hope you all are gonna join me too. If you do, I want you to dedicate yourself to it, commit to it, maybe throw something up on your Instagram committing to the Driven series. Do a hashtag Driven, tag me in it. I wanna repost all my Driven friends that are gonna be doing this along with me. Let's do it together. Let's kick some ass and do it for us to be better versions of ourselves. That's gonna wrap up episode 1. I can't wait to continue this journey with you all. Let me know who's with me, and I'll see you in episode 2.